Welcome back, everyone, for today's video. Today I'm going to be going over one of the rated games of the week played at Chess Zone between my friend Jack Garmon and his opponent named Alexander Joseph. Now, Alexander Joseph, I've played him once in a Sunday quads hosted by the Georgia Chess Club, and I've actually beaten him, but he's very talented for his age. Like, he's probably, or not probably, definitely one of the top 8 or 9 year olds for his age, for in terms of ratings. So I don't know, he probably picked up chess at 5 or 6, and he's already at 8 or 9 years old, almost 1700. So this kid has a bright future ahead of him. So Jack was prepared against him for the rated game of the week today that I, again, can't go to for reasons I've stated already. And, without further ado, let's jump straight into the action and go over this game. So, as a reminder, time control is 60 minutes with a 5-second increment, and let's just go through the game real fast. So, Jack starts the game with e4. Alexander Joseph replies with e5. We get knight f3, knight c6, and Jack plays his classic bishop b5, what is called the Ruy Lopez, one of the most common openings played at the top level. Alexander played the move a6, and here Jack actually does this less common sideline. He actually takes the knight on c6. More conventional is to move to a4 to preserve the bishop pair, but this is still fine. D takes, and Jack castles. I've showed this on a previous game. White can't really take here because of queen to d4, which would fork the knight and the pawn. And after you save your knight, black would just grab this. And after a move like queen e2, and moves like this, black's just having a small edge because the king can't castle and already has more development. That's why it's not advised, but it's not losing. It's not advised to grab on e5. So Jack castled, and Alexander defended his pawn with bishop to d6. And here Jack plays the move c3. I would have went d4 right away just because after the trade happens, there's no knight on c6 or something to hit the queen, and the queen gets to a very central square here. And apparently this is book. After black has to play f6 here to not be worse. Yeah, but there is no really need to go c3. I mean, d4 was already there, and there was no drawback to the move. But, okay, I'm not going to give him too much backlash. c3 is a perfectly reasonable move. Alexander played the move c5 to clamp down on d4, and Jack played the d4 anyway. So after a few trades, and Jack centralizes his queen, basically the only move to not be lost here for black is the f6. Because, right, white's attacking g7. If you try a move like queen f6, you just fall into the fork with e5. So that's not going to cut it. Or if you try knight f6, then same thing, e5. And even bishop g5 could, okay, bishop e7, but what I'm saying is bishop g5 could be a possibility at some point where you could pin the knight. But anyway, yeah, there's just e5 fork here, so. Yeah, so that's why you have to go f6 here to save your pawn. Jack plays rook to d1, good move. Bishop g4. Alexander Joseph is threatening to double the kingside pawns. Jack plays queen a4 check. Okay, I mean, he's giving a check, but, I mean, what if I would have not preferred this? Alexander did play this in the game. He played b5, and the reason I don't really fully understand this is because the queen has to move again, but I suppose his idea was to gain time and move his queen to b3, where he will defend the knight that way. And here Alexander makes a mistake. He plays the move knight e7, seemingly natural move. And the reason white's better is because black can't castle kingside because the queen is actually controlling the g8 square where the king would land. And yeah, top move for the engine is just to play bishop f4, which is what Jack played in the game. Kudos to him. But even the move e5 here, and the reason this is so good is because black can't really take, because after the knight hops in, yeah, the best move is to give away the queen for a rook and a bishop. Because otherwise queen f7 was like a deadly threat. Yeah, but anyway, Jack plays one of the top moves, bishop f4. We get the move knight g6, and already Jack has a significant advantage. Black has an isolated d-pawn, the king is in the center, and white will start to get out the pieces soon, maybe play moves like a4 at some point to, it's not good here, but maybe try to open on the queen side. White has a lot of ideas to play for here. So Jack just kicks the bishop away. Don't hate this move. We get a trade on f3, and now Alexander castles because the queen is no longer controlling the b3 g8 diagonal. But even if Jack allowed black to castle, white still is better. And here Jack loses his advantage here with queen to d3. I mean, I get it. He's attacking the pawn on d6, and frankly, I don't really get why this is a bad move. Like, I probably would have played a move like this. Let's see. The engine just suggests to play like rook c8 here, giving this up, but you can't take because after a trade, black can just slam the rook on the back rank, and your development is really cramped. So, in that sense, black could have tactically defended the pawn, or even played this move f5 and then maybe played knight e5, or actually knight f4. And let's see, after a move like check, king h8, queen h6. If you try to hold on to the pawn like this, yeah, all of a sudden black has an attack with queen g5, and yeah, you can't really afford to hold on to the pawn like that. So those were some tricky defenses by the computer after queen to d3. Would have Alexander found that? I'm assuming not, but maybe. So yeah, Alexander plays queen e7. His idea is if white takes on d6, black takes on e4, it's a trade. And yeah, white just defends the pawn on e4 with the knight and renews the threat of queen takes d6. And this time Alexander does defend his pawn. We get the move a4. I mentioned that earlier, that concept of opening the queen side. Alexander hopped the knight into f4. And here Jack played queen f1, and I wouldn't have went all the way back. I mean, queen e3 is perfectly reasonable, but okay, queen f1. And yeah, Alexander played this move queen e8, kind of an interesting move. Suppose he's trying to add some pressure to a4, but that doesn't really exist because that pawn is sufficiently defended. But yeah, and also Jack can just take on b5, and what's the queen doing there? And we get a trade, and Jack's now up a pawn. Obviously avoid a queen trade if you're black. Don't go into an endgame where you're down a pawn. Instead, black tries the best move, trying to threaten checkmate on g2. And you have to go g3 here. And the pawn is restored for black. King g2. We get knight to g5. f4 by Jack. Knight f7. Queen d5 to pin the knight. Queen to g4. Rook h1. Now the bar is totally in equality here. Yeah, and Alexander does play the best move. He plays rook b8 to target the pawn on b2, and Jack chooses to defend it with rook a to b1. Alexander's playing rook f to c8. He's getting his pieces involved. Rook h4, queen g6. Let's see. Jack played knight to d1. I'm suppose he's trying to reroute to maybe e3 or something. But the knight was, also, yeah, I see why he did it. The rook on c3, let's say white plays a random move. Oh, that's not even a bad move. Oh, because that defends the rook. Okay, I accidentally did that. Like, let's say, even this, wow, does this not work? Oh, because there's a, wait, hold up, queen a8. I thought this loses a piece. Oh, because the knight has to block. I see. All right. I didn't see that far. I thought the rook c3 was a threat for that white had to deal with. But turns out it wasn't a huge threat. But yeah, Jack throws in rook h4, and then he saves his knight because he thought it was an actual threat, even though technically it wasn't. Here, Alexander plays king h8, and lets Jack have the advantage again. And Jack actually does play the move. He plays rook g4, and guys, wherever the queen goes, the knight's going to fall. So, yeah, essentially Jack is winning a knight here. So queen h7, white grabs the knight. But black does have a little bit of counterplay with the move queen takes e4. It looks like there's a fork on the knight and the rook. But Jack just slid his king to h3, and you can't take either piece because of mate on g7. So Alexander defends the mate on g7 and attacks his queen with rook b7. So is black getting the piece back? No, because Jack finds this move queen to d5. And this is a very nice move because if you just take one of the pieces here, you lose a rook. Oh, this is what happened in the game. Okay. And if, let's say, you take the knight, well, then you lose the rook. It's even worse. And if you try to, like, defend your queen, then you just trade queens and you're happy. You won a knight out of this. So, anyway, going back, Alexander goes into this variation and plays rook to c7. Very tricky move here. Obviously, you can't take because this is a surprising checkmate. You wouldn't want to lose the game like that. Yeah, rook c7, very tricky. Yeah, Jack plays queen g2 here. We get rook to e7, knight f1, and here Jack blunders the advantage in black's favor. And here the computer suggests the move queen f5, and the reason that this is so annoying, in fact, black is totally winning here. And the reason black is winning here is because, well, first of all, the queen is pinning the rook on g4, and the king is on h3, so h5 is a really huge threat that in essence can't be stopped. Like, let's say you play like here, then h5 is just game over. You're just going to be down in exchange, and your king is like kind of in a precarious spot. So let's say you try to move your king while also defending the rook. King h4, and then you just get shoved back with g5. And yeah, if you take, then it's just even worse for you. So you have to go here, but then h5 anyway. King h4 won't cut it. So how else do you avoid h5? Well, the least bad of the options is queen a8. And after king h7 here, to go queen f8 to attack the rook and threaten checkmate. And here the computer suggests to maintain the pin on the rook and defend the mate, and defend the rook. And then to play f5 here to block the pin, but then h5 anyway. Rook f4, even though you're still up in knight, like rook e8, and then you have to give the queen up here. Like, this is very, very insane line. I doubt he would have seen all that in Jack 2. But yeah, Alexander didn't play a queen f5. He played rook to e1, which I guess makes some sense. He's trying to come onto the king from the back. But knight h2, Jack covers his king from any possible checks. h5, rook h4 to attack the pawn, queen f5, check. Now, g4, rook e3. While these checks may seem scary, white can just cover in a variety of ways. Knight f3. The attack is once again halted. Queen takes f4, rook h5, king g8, rook f5, the only move not to lose on the spot because the knight was double attacked, so you have to defend it, x-ray defend it. Queen e4, king g3 to defend the knight again. We get g6 here by Alexander, and we get rook b5, and then, okay, here Jack throws his advantage slightly again. And here it's a mistake to take on f6. The reason is it's not like you're losing, but computer suggests this move queen e5 check. And let's see, you have to go, if you go like here, for instance, then you just lose your rook. So you have to go here, and if you queen here, you take the rook. And I might be thinking, what about this? Well, that even though it looks like you're winning the queen, don't forget black's queen's attack too. So after king f1, guess what? White still ends up a piece here. So how is black going to save the game? Well, after queen takes here, after queen takes b2, best move for white is to actually just take the rook, give up the queen, and then maybe something like rook g6, king h7, maybe grab this guy, and this will end up being a draw. So, again, a lot of these are very lengthy lines for why these are, but yeah, these are require seeing a lot of moves into the future. And here, Alexander plays d5. White's advantage has grown. Queen h1, top move by Jack. G5, now the advantage has grown even more. We get rook b8 check, king f7, queen h5 check, king g7. Jack told me that Alexander had virtually no time at this point, or maybe a move or two later, only had a few seconds. So maybe he was blundering like this under severe time pressure. I wasn't there. I'm not sure. I'm just quoting what Jack told me. So after rook b7, king g8, Jack plays queen f7, and queen g7 mate. So Jack has beaten a player not significantly, but about 60 to 70 points higher than him. So this is obviously going to benefit his rating, and combined with other rated games that he has played this month, his rating is predicted to go up by a lot. He definitely will be closer to 1,700 than 1,600. That's a very strong prediction, and I guarantee that's going to happen. It's probably going to be like 1,660 or 70. So at the time of the recording of this video, I didn't see the rating results yet. So this should come out at midnight, which is in 9 minutes. So I'm going to link that in the comments of the video, so you can see the results for the rated games of the week of September. But anyway, going back to this, Jack gets a nice win against Alexander Joseph. Slight misstep when after queen f5 was missed, but thankfully Black did not see that. And yeah, this was overall a really good game. A lot of the mistakes weren't like clear cut. There were part of a lot of seeing ahead. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video by saying thank you guys for watching. If you learned something from this video or got something out of it, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, leave a comment, and let me know what you think. And until next time, bye.